What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Between the Boards podcast, episode 4 with your host, Nolan Hall. It's good to be back. Happy Monday. Rough morning for a lot of us students. Back to school today. So it sucked this morning. Went to bed at around 4 a.m. Had to be up at 7. So, I'm going off 3 hours of sleep. Extremely tired. But you know what? I'm glad I'm here. This nice Monday night. Being able to talk to everyone. Huge hockey now. Let's roll the clip really quickly of Team USA ending it.
Teddy Stiga, Stiga shoots, scores! Teddy Stiga, golden goal! And the United States has won back-to-back World Junior gold medals for the first time in its history.
So yeah, that was huge. For the second consecutive year, Team USA has won the World Junior Hockey Championship. So good for them, man. They proved me wrong. I had Sweden winning this whole tournament after watching, going into this, looking at the roster that they had. I also thought Finland might have took it last night after. I know Finland gets better as the tournament goes on, so I thought that they would have had it last night, especially after the second period. U.S. came out strong. So let's get into it. Let's dive into it. Let's go into a little bit more into detail about the game. So great gold medal game. I would say that was the game of the tournament. Finland scored, I believe, 5 minutes in, and right from there, they looked amazing, and they were moving the puck well. They definitely, as a team, won the first period, won the second period. But USA, that offensive firepower, like I've talked about in the last podcast, that first Boston College line, that's what won them that game. Ryan Leonard, Gabriel Perreault, James Higgins, those kids are unbelievable, man. They'll be in the show as soon as you know it. Those kids are insane. They had a great tournament. They're the reason why they didn't just win the gold medal, but they had a very productive tournament. I believe they scored 80% of all Team USA's goals throughout the tournament. So that's a crazy number right there. Overtime was crazy. So overtime was wild because USA had the puck, man, for almost all of overtime. I believe Finland might have had the puck for maybe 50 seconds throughout that overtime, and I'm not even sure they registered a shot on net in overtime. So I was very shocked by that, but I know that when it comes to 3-on-3, I'm putting my money on that Team USA team any day. So let's talk about some key players for the U.S. Ryan Leonard, Washington Capitals prospect. He's going to be in the NHL very, very soon. Just like Mike Johnson said on the broadcast, that kid's unbelievable. I know there's a little if to his game where he could be a bit of a whiner, likes to fake a lot of penalties. But he's just putting 100% effort out there. He's a great skater. He has a sick shot. And a lot of players, he's just like Bedard. They do a lot better with this stupid bubble on their face. So maybe a lot of players should start wearing this bubble on their face, and they'll just be a lot better of a hockey player. But obviously, jokes aside, great tournament from Ryan Leonard, and him and Gabriel Perreault. We got to give a lot of credit to Gabriel Perreault. I think he was the reason why Leonard scored half of his goals. He was setting up him and Higgins left and right. So shout out to Perreault. He played an unbelievable tournament. We'll talk about defenseman for the U.S., Cole Hudson, really quickly. What a tournament for him. He broke the record in this tournament for most points by a defenseman with 11. So he had an unbelievable tournament. It was nice seeing his brother Lane, the Montreal Canadiens defenseman there. Him and Cole are very similar players. They're both offensive defensemen. They move the puck well. They have 6 shots. We'll show on the screen right now Cole's goal from last night. That was a huge goal that cut the lead to 1 for Finland. And that's what got the States going. So that was huge from him. It was a really similar goal to the goal that he had against Canada. So Cole Hudson had an unbelievable tournament. And as well, lastly, one player I want to talk about for the States, their goaltender, Trey Augustine, who has now won back-to-back gold medals, as well with the 9 other returning players from the States. And I think that's a big reason on why the States won it this year, is because they had a lot of their boys from last year who were champions back on the team. So they already had that chemistry going into this. So that was huge for the States. The first time they've ever won back-to-back gold medals. They should all be proud of themselves. That team, that one of the best States teams I've seen, is along with the team that I saw last year as well, with the 2017 USA team with Troy Terry, Clayton Keller, and also like that one USA team reminded me a lot of them. The 2021 Team USA team with Zegras, Caulfield, Matt Boldy, Cam York. That team was unbelievable too. So this year's team reminded me a lot of that team. And yeah, so we'll move on from the gold medal game really quickly, and we'll talk about the bronze medal game, which was a wild ride too. So that went into overtime. Both teams were unsuccessful in overtime, so that ended up going to a shootout. And this shootout, man, was an absolute shit show. Ended up being 12 rounds until the Kraken prospect Edward Saleh finally ended it. Czechia's captain. This was his second year in the tournament. He had a great tournament. So Edward Saleh, I believe he played for the Barrie Colts last year. I'm not even 100% sure, but he's a great player. He scored a sick goal against Canada. I don't think we gave him a lot of recognition. So what a tournament for him. And I want to show this clip really quickly. So in the shootout, for IIHF rules, after the 5 rounds of shootout, you can use the whatever player you want multiple times after that. So Sweden ended up using their captain, Axel Sandin Pellikka, 4 times. So I want to show this clip really quickly of his goal. Shout out to my buddy Tommy for getting this video for me. He came in clutch last night with a lot of cool videos. So look, that goal was unbelievable. He deked the shit out of the Czechia goaltender. And yeah, so Sweden for last 10 years is choking in the medal rounds, and it's unfortunate. It's like the Leafs curse that they got. They can't come through in the medal rounds, and I thought they were going to win it this year after watching their first game. I thought they were like strong with Stenberg, Pellikka, Willander. That Sweden team this year was very, very well. Was a great team, and I thought they were going to win it. And you know what? They didn't. They choked again. So yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about really quickly. After every single tournament, there's MVP of the tournament, forward of the tournament, defensive player of the tournament, and goaltender of the tournament. So at the start, I had a prediction in the last podcast, and I was wrong about 2 of them. So I had Slovakia's Dvorsky winning forward of the tournament, and he didn't. It was actually Ryan Leonard. So Ryan Leonard won MVP and forward of the tournament, which I think is understandable because not like in the NHL they pick the player MVP goes to the player who had the best regular season. They don't count playoffs. So in this, if you want to count the the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the finals as playoffs. So Ryan Leonard ended up having more games played than Dvorsky. Dvorsky is the Blues prospect. The Blues have had like 9 or 10 players actually in this tournament, so they had a lot of prospects in this tournament. But Ryan Leonard had an edge over Dvorsky just because he had more games played. So that's the reason why I think he had the edge to win most valuable player and forward of the tournament. I was right on about defensive player of the tournament. Axel Sandin Pellikka for the 2nd year straight won this award. It could have been him or Cole Hudson. It could have gone both ways. I think Cole Hudson is a great player. Again, broke the record for most points in a IIHF World Junior Championship. So yeah, like I said, plays just like his brother Lane. You know what? I think that could have gone both ways, but I think Pellikka, he didn't have a lot of other firepower players besides like Stenberg on that team. So I think as being the captain, this is his 3rd World Junior Championship. So I think he deserved it. Goaltender of the tournament, Finland's goaltender, Rimpinen ended up getting this award. I know a lot of people were upset about Latvia's goaltender, Fellberg's not getting this. And I think Finland's goalie deserved this, not just because I think he was the better goaltender, but because he brought his team to the gold medal game. And I know Latvia isn't always the strongest team every single year, but I think there is a very possible chance of Feldberg's getting drafted this summer. He was a terrific goaltender, made a lot of huge saves this against Canada, against Sweden. So he's a great goaltender. Wouldn't be surprised if I saw him getting drafted this year. But again, Finland's goaltender Rippinen deserved that. Especially if you go and watch a video of him in overtime last night, he made some very, very huge saves for Team Finland. And I want to show this clip really quickly of the second goal that that Finland scored last night. I forgot to add this in, but what a snipe that goal was. And I don't know if that was that was a perfect shot. I think Trey Augustine should have saved it, but what a fucking snipe that was there, man. That was a sick shot. I was mind blown after seeing that. And yeah, so that was a sick shot. Let's move on to after each tournament, you're able to tell who came in what place. So then it will solve out the groups for next season. So it's going to be a bit of a shit show next season with groups. So they take first place, fourth place, fifth place, and then eighth and ninth place and put that in Group A. And they'll take second and third, fifth and sixth, sixth and seventh and 10th in Group B, I believe. So Group A next year consists of Team USA, Team Sweden, Team Canada, Team Switzerland, and Team Germany. So that is going to be a ride to watch, man. You're going to see Canada play the States, Canada play Sweden. All those three face off. Any team could take it next year. That group's going to be really sick to watch those games. So I didn't know that's how the format was when it came to picking. I thought it was like first, third, 5, 7, and 9 in that, and then so even and odd. But I guess that's how they do it. I guess that's how they've done it for the last couple of years. So that's gonna be really sick to watch. So yeah, you know what? Hopefully Canada picks a better team next year. Hopefully we're picking players like Beckett Seneca, who's already connecting with Callum Ritchie with the Oshawa Generals. They had a great night last night. So it's really frustrating seeing Seneca and Ritchie score goals together in Oshawa, knowing that we could have had that with Team Canada and have that chemistry with each other. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully we get a guy like Michael Misa on the team next year. But a lot of players on Canada can return. There wasn't a lot of 19-year-olds this year. There was a couple. A lot of younger players this year. It's going to be, I think Gavin McKenna is going to absolutely light it up next year. He's just going to get better and better. He reminds me of Bedard. Apparently he's Bedard's cousin. Let me know in the comments if that's true, because I don't know if that's true. But I think that's pretty cool if he is. So let's move on a little bit from the World Juniors. Let's move over to the NHL a bit. Let's talk about my Leafs really quickly, who have been unbelievable. They're on a 4-game heater right now. Unfortunately, last night, Leafs defenseman Jake McCabe got his shit rocked in a fight. He's out of concussion. Was trying to get up after the fight and then kind of fell back down. I'll show a clip of it there. But that's an unfortunate loss for the Leafs. He's been playing. I thought he's been playing a lot better the last couple games for the Leafs. Scored a really nice goal against Boston the other night. So that play kind of reminded me of when Tavares got kneed or skate to the face by Corey Perry, because I remember seeing Tavares trying to get up and then kind of passed out after. So luckily Morgan Riley was behind him and caught him, so he didn't smash his head or anything. But that's obviously an unfortunate loss for Leafs. I know they called up somebody earlier today. But let's talk about another Leaf player who's been unbelievable lately, Mathew Knies. Last 2 games, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points in his last 2 games. Had a terrific game against Boston the other night. Had his first career hat trick. And I love him on that first line with Matthews and Marner. I don't think there's anywhere else you'd put him. He's definitely not a third liner. Definitely not a fourth liner. But him with Matthews and Marner, I think, is a great combination. And he works hard. He works his ass off right out there. He lays hits, and I think that's exactly what the Leafs wanted from him. He's now got 15 goals and 10 assists, 25 points on the year, and he's on pace for his best year yet. And I think he's just going to get better and better as he gets older. So, still a very young kid. He's from the United States. He played in the 2021 World Junior Championship. He's a great player. He kind of reminds me of what's that player of Clayton Keller in a way from Arizona. I think they're similar players. So Knies has been playing great lately. And then after the game against Boston, Brad Marchand was interviewed, and he said that this is one of the best Leafs team. It's a different Leafs team that he's faced in the past, because this Leafs team is a lot different. I think a lot of us fans are happy with the outcome that the Leafs are. I think they're 5th in the league now overall, with in the stand, first in the Atlantic Division. But the Leafs are great this season, and I love everything about them. I love bringing in Tanev. I love bringing in Ekman Larson. I think that defense is what we needed. Joseph Wall's been great. Dennis Hillary played a great game in net last night. I thought he played excellent. So yeah, I think the Leafs are doing great right now. They're doing a lot of things right. So yeah, that's great for the Leafs. Let's talk about quickly Jonathan Toews, who I talked about a little bit in the last podcast, and there's talk about him coming back to the NHL. 36 years old. There was talk about him going to the Leafs. He is not going to be a good fit for the Leafs, and I don't think the Leafs are. I think that's just a rumor. I don't think that he's been talking to the Leafs at all. He just wouldn't fit in with this team. He's not a guy you could put on the first line. I don't think he's a guy you can put on the second line. You already have a guy like Pat Chiarelli, who I think has been great for the Leafs, and I think he would fill that role better than Toews. And Toews hasn't played in 2 years. Our third line's good, and he wouldn't fit in on that fourth line because you got Reeves, Lorentz, and Dewar on that line. So I don't think Jonathan Toews would fit in as good as the Leaf. I think he'd be better as like I said in the last podcast as a New York Ranger. I think they need that leader right now. Actually, after losing Jacob Trouba, their captain, I think Toews would fit in really good right there. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Maybe Toews won't even make a comeback. I would honestly love to see it. Obviously, he's got a couple Stanley Cups. I think it would be nice to see what he could do back. But even with his last season, he played 54 games and only had 25 points. So obviously, he's not going to produce a lot. But I think that leadership role would be great for him. And lastly, before we end up the podcast, I saw a thing on Instagram and the Score app earlier today of the top 3 prospects for the NHL draft. It's just a prediction, and Porter Martone is number 1. So that kind of shocked me a bit. Obviously he's been great in the OHL. Obviously his World Junior Championship wasn't amazing for Canada. His last game was great, like I talked about in the last podcast. But I think that's going to change. Matthew Schaefer's projected 2, and James Hagen's projected 3. So I think they're going to bump down. I think Schaefer's going to be the first overall pick. I think Hagen's going to be second. I think Martone's going to be third. We'll see how that goes. That's my prediction. I think I personally would rather a player like Hagens than Martone. And I think honestly it depends on if a team is looking for a defensive player like Matthew Schaefer. Obviously, it's unfortunate we didn't get to see what he could do for Team Canada after only playing 1 game after breaking his collarbone. So that sucks. Hopefully he's back soon for Erie. He's also kind of like an offensive defenseman, but he's a great defenseman too, makes smart plays. So hopefully he's back soon. Yeah, so you know what? That's all I got for today's podcast. Didn't want to keep it too long. Hopefully we'll upload, today's Monday. Hopefully we'll get another one out on Wednesday or Thursday. And again, I want to thank you guys for all the support lately. Go and follow Between the Boards on Instagram and TikTok. Again, like and subscribe, and thank you for all the feedback. Thanks for all the likes, and thanks for all the support, guys. And we'll see you in the next episode. See ya.